So I just wanted to show you one of our new little investments. We just picked up this VEVOR spray booth, inflatable spray booth. We just shot some black in it. We'll probably do a full review, but wanted to do kind of a partial review. We're going to do some yellow and some clear coat next couple of days, so we'll have some more to it. This is the back of it. It's got a man door here. It comes with two blowers. This one in particular, it's got a 1100 and a 950 watt blower, I believe. One's for blowing the tent. The other one is for ventilation or pushing the overspray through. The 750 is quite a bit bigger than most of them. The tent this size, the overspray is manageable. It's not horrible. We did have a big barn fan at the end of it helping to pull through some, and that seemed to work okay too. I'm going to try it without the barn fan and see if it forces it through the filters a little bit more, if it's better or worse. But we'll get into that a little bit more. But so the sun's over the mountain right now, and it's kind of getting dark here. Quite a bit of light in here, natural light from all the clear on the roof, the clear side, two side panels, and it's not bad in there. I wouldn't say it's perfect, but it's definitely not bad. We do have some lights that we may use in it. We just this was kind of on a fly, getting this thing up and trying it out the first time. I did buy wood to build a frame on the inside, so if we do for some reason lose the blower, it doesn't come crashing down on your paint. We do have the generator. I don't know if you noticed it over there. What I was doing is running the ventilation one on the generator and the other one on power, just to see how it worked. And I did run the inflator, big one on the generator, and the little Predator 2000 watt handled it fine. Starting up, it didn't like it, but once it got going, it was fine. So it's good to have a backup plan. If you lose power or you lose your generator, you have somewhere else to plug in. A good backup plan too, because these things do come down fairly fast, and if you do trip a breaker or something. So this one has got a little room in the back. I tried to find the one the size I wanted without the room, but the room's kind of handy. I didn't use it to mix paint. At first I didn't think I was going to use it. And there's another reason for the room, is the ventilation blower blows into that room and then out through some filters. So it forces any air that's coming in there to get filtered going in, which is good. I mean, we're not doing show car restorations here, but to make sure you got some somewhat clean air coming in, it probably does slow the flow down a bit. We'll show you that in there. This one I believe is 33 by 20 by 13. I got one big enough that we could pull a truck in if we wanted to. I'm glad I did. Also, when we're painting these little tractors, we got stuff spread out all over the place, and it just made it easy to do most of it in one shot, or rotate a couple trips. This is the main door. It's zippered up top, zippered along the bottom. I do wish there was a man door in here. It's nice and bright and it's clear, but I wish there was a man door in it. I believe that would help too. So we had our big barn fan sitting in this corner, pulling out here, but there's very little overspray outside, period. It does a good job that way. It dissipates it and pulls it, and there's not, even outside the filters or where the fan was, there's very little. You can see this is the side it was concentrated on. There's another port over here for either maybe if you want to blow in or suck out. It would probably make sense to be able to suck out this way. I'll have to see if we can get some kind of blower with an adapter to help pull this way. And it's got some tie-offs on the sides. We're in a gravel driveway, so I put down a real heavy-duty tarp. I didn't want to get rocks or anything. The thing's fairly heavy-duty. It's fairly thick, but I do want to protect the investment. This thing I think was $1,100. We got some coupons and some stuff. I want to say by the time we got it done, it was around $900. And saved one paint job from dust and some bugs or some leaves, and it pays for it pretty quick. The only thing we didn't paint inside was this rear end, because I didn't want the jack stands going through the bottom of this thing, and the rear ends are pretty heavy there. This is a case Ingersoll 648 that we're restoring. So I shot all the black today. We're going to do yellow and clear another day. I will say it heats up in here fairly quick. You got a lot of sun. It works like a greenhouse. Probably a good 20 degrees warmer than what it was outside. Once you get the fan and the blower kicking in here, it drops temperature a little bit. I wouldn't want to be in here in a 95 or 100 degree day outside, because you're going to be way too hot in here to paint, and that's too hot to paint anyways. But it's got these Velcro filters on the side, which are nice. It's got Velcro filters on the outside of these ones too. I'm not sure why the redundancy. They're probably different mesh, but you see the overspray on the floor. There's some on the walls. It's tough doing what we're doing because you get a ton of overspray because you're spraying a lot of little parts, and it's just spraying in all directions, all over the place, and you're putting a lot of paint up in the air and not necessarily on the parts doing this. You'd be surprised the amount of paint we use doing these little tractors compared to doing flat panels on a truck or a car. A little bit of a learning curve, just by habit. I had the racks on the outside and was working from the inside, and it put some overspray on the glass and stuff, and maybe right on the filters. So I think I'm going to work from the outside and shoot in next time. So it's a learning curve. These racks are awesome. These are ABN, and there's another company that makes them as well. It's very similar. VEVOR's got some. I do prefer these ones over the VEVOR one. The VEVOR one's a little bigger, but it's a little lighter duty, a little more flimsy. These racks go up and down, adjustable up and down, which is really nice. I think the VEVOR might be adjustable right and left, but these things are handy as heck. And if you look up, it's got 4 panels up top, lots of natural light. These 2 big wall end panels, as well as the end door. This is 13 high. I believe the 13 I was gonna guess is maybe the very height, and these crossovers are maybe 12. I don't know. I haven't measured it, but you can easily pull a pickup truck in here. That's why we got it. We got a crew cab dually, long box, and it would just fit in here lengthwise and give you a little bit of room. I think, you know, you're roughly probably 16, 17 feet, depending where you're measuring off the walls or off the pillars on the inside. And I think it's just shy of 29 feet or 30 feet lengthwise until you hit this room. You could probably pull a triaxle in here pretty darn close. Height-wise, I think you'd be absolutely fine. I know I could probably pull my service truck in here too. So it's a good size for doing a lot of things. And again, it's nice just to throw out 3 or 4 of these racks, shoot them, and then rotate stuff in and out. If I had a small one, we'd be hanging stuff in and out, moving racks around, it'd be a pain. So it makes it nice that way. This is a 6-foot table, I believe. You can put a bunch of these. There's plenty of room to work around. I just wanted to go bigger. So you never have enough room. Never big enough on one. Whenever you got a toolbox, you got something like this. You got a shed. You build a shop. You're never big enough. Here's a little man door into the man room. I've got the ventilation blower off just because it's a little quieter, but that blows on the bottom over here. When this is all closed off, it pushes it through these black filters. And then here's a man door going out. You want it closed. So you want all these man doors closed so you're forcing the air through these 2 filters. And that way you got clean air coming into your booth and you're not picking up any dust. And back here it's probably 4 feet-ish, 3.5, 4 feet wide. Plenty big enough to mix. Originally I didn't want it because I thought it was a lot of wasted space, but it works okay for doing this, and the point of pushing fresh air, clean air through there, I kind of like. If I was to suggest, I'd put a zipper on this wall too, so if somebody wanted to have a full-size paint booth, you could just unzip this wall and take it right out of here. That would be a suggestion or an upgrade I would think about doing if VEVOR's listening, as well as put a man door on that end door. But besides that, so far, not too many complaints. It's fairly heavy-duty material. Maybe a little heavier would be nicer, but it seems to do the trick. It seems to work. I think there's probably a life on these things because they do breathe. Even though they're holding the air, I think some escapes through there. So over time, it's going to wear and more is going to escape, and you're going to have to get a much bigger blower or a new tent. But it was really nice not dealing with bugs, not dealing with leaves, not dealing with pollen. Probably should have done this a long time ago. And honestly, it's a pretty consistent light in here. These top panels kind of diffuse it a little bit and make it a little more even. But just wanted to show you quickly what we had going on here. Well, these are pretty handy too for guys that do mobile work. I don't know if I'd go quite this big. It is a little bit of a project on rolling and rolling back up, I believe, but not horrible. It inflates very fast, a few minutes and this thing's up. Right now we just got it plugged up to the service truck for air and the compressor and some power, the generators, so you can do quite a bit. If you look at the size of the service truck compared to this thing, plenty big. You can drive that service truck in there and a good sized vehicle. Well, we just got done doing our first tractor in our inflatable paint booth, and it was an experience for sure. Lots of pros and cons. We're learning as we go with this thing. It was beautiful not having to deal with bugs and pollen and whatnot. Definitely a huge pro. And leaves and anything just kicking up that keeps the wind at bay. The sunlight, it kind of blocks it a little bit here. But that said, it gets hot in here. This is a 13 or by 20 by 33, I believe. And we were up to 110 degrees with the clear coat today. I didn't like it, but it looks like we, I think so far made out all right. And hopefully in a couple hours, everything will still look good. It dries out the humidity, which is nice. When we were at that temperature, we were probably 24-25%, I think, when I checked it for humidity. Now it's 88, and when we're at 37-38%, which is great. I will pick my days next time a little different when we're doing this, because it's 10 to 20 degrees easily hotter in here than it is outside, especially with the sun going. The overspray is okay. We ran this fan over here and this fan over here. Two reasons to kind of keep the overspray moving. I don't know if it hurt it or not because it wasn't sending it through these filters as much, but we needed it to keep the temperature down to keep the air moving. So that was the trade-off. This thing all buttoned up. Maybe the overspray be a little better, but definitely with the clear coat especially, there's overspray. There's a tube on this end. I'm gonna get a blower for this end to suck out over here, and then keep everything locked off and let this thing work as it's designed to push out these filters, and have a blower in this corner go. This little Milwaukee fan does an amazing job. For its size, the thing is incredible. But it's just nice to be able to work inside an enclosed environment and not deal with bugs. It is not waterproof, but I would say if you get a sprinkle, it's going to save you. If your ground gets wet, it's going to start dripping in here. This is kind of a breathable material. We didn't have any water experience with it. I've heard of some stuff, but just looking at it, I wouldn't count on it. But last year we had a couple paint jobs where there was no rain on the forecast. And we literally got a spitting shower for about 30 seconds that completely wrecked the paint job. And this, no doubt, would protect us from that. A sun shower, absolute downpour, rainstorm, I wouldn't count on it. One thing I did do and I didn't do, I bought a bunch of 2x4s to frame out this. So if these happen to collapse, it protects everything, because these do deflate very fast. I have a generator out there for backup in case we lose power. I really want to do it on PVC, but PVC is really like 3 times the cost of building it out of 2x4s. And my thought was just going 8 foot high and just kind of framing it out. That way, if this thing does come down, it protects what we had painted. The little room back here for mixing is actually your pressure room that pushes your filtered air out. And I actually use it for mixing. One thing to keep in mind if you are using it for mixing, make sure you level your table, level your paint cups. So some improvements. Maybe a plastic door where this man door is, a small one would help. Some ports for your air hoses so you don't have to bring the air hoses through the door. The square little ports with flaps on them there, and then on this side. That way your air hose is coming through. You don't have to keep your door cracked. That's one thing I would do. You notice this filter's got paint getting sucked in when it's supposed to be blowing out. I think it's because this man door had to be open a little bit with the hose, and that was a path of least resistance, so therefore the pressurized air was coming through there and creating a vacuum on the back side where the air is getting pushed in. You notice this side didn't have it because I think the path of least resistance was here. This is supposed to be pushing out, not sucking in, but it did suck in there, and I think that's why. But definitely ports for the air hoses, and then I would put a port on this side for the air hose too. You could use this little yellow thing for an air hose. A couple things on this end that I would definitely improve is a big man door on this side, like 8 foot wide by 8 foot tall, so you can bring things in and out, so you can open it up for ventilation or to change the temperature quickly. Right now that's your only opening, and it's kind of a pain. And if you want to open this whole thing up, it goes all the way up 13 feet, and you got to be able to do your zipper. If you tied a rope to it, it helps a little bit, but the angle and stuff, it just doesn't zip like it should. So if you had an 8 by 8 door here that was a zipper, you can open up to come in and out, bring pieces in, and actually get some air exchange in a hurry. It would be huge. The other thing, this man room for mixing paint, it's a good idea. It works good for filterizing the pressurized air, but make that zippable, so if you've got a long vehicle, you could take that right out of there and use that extra 4 feet if you need it. I think it would be huge. Even if you made it 3/4 of a zippable, so you know, maybe 6-8 feet high, so you can pull the nose or something in there and still be able to zip it up or do what you got to do. You know, if it was zipped at basically the height of those filters, that way you can use that extra 4 feet if you want. I tried to avoid buying one with that paint room, and I couldn't really find one. But after I got it, I realized what they're trying to do is filter pressurized air coming in here. And it does work to some degree. I think it slows down that blower for sure and the air coming through here. So there's a downside to filtering it, but you're not picking up dust and bugs and stuff because those black filters are allowing the air to come through. But overall, worth the money. I think by the time we did coupons and some other stuff, we're right around 1,000, right under 1,000. I will say they tell you it ships in 2 to 5 days. Not the case. It comes in longer, and this size isn't a big package, so therefore they had to get a carrier and a truck to drop it off. The smaller ones probably ship much quicker, but you can see in our video we used the whole, this thing's huge and we used it all, and that's why I got this big one, because I know when I paint I'm out taking up half the driveway because we take everything apart right down to the bare frame, not on all paint jobs but on the restorations, and I couldn't even do it all in here if I wanted to, the way we've got the tractors broken apart. These racks, we got 4 of them, they make a huge difference. If I wanted to pull my dually in here, we got a crew cab dually with a long bed, and I could do it in here. It'll be a little tight up front of the nose, but not horrible. It will fit in here. And that's the reason, another reason I got this big one. I could pull my service truck in here that's 10 foot tall and whatnot, and do most of it in here. So for a few $100s more to get the big one, it made sense for us. And again, I could probably paint or 2 torn down garden tractors in here, or 1 complete loader be pushing it. But again, the overspray, the clear coat, we brought a few pieces in, let them set up, let them flash off, brought them out, brought some new pieces in, so the overspray wasn't sitting on the stuff that was sitting in here. So that's why you see only the hoods in this here. We did the body panels in 1 shot, we did the small pieces that we did clear in 1 shot, and then we did the loader frame and the tractor frame in 1 shot. And it kept the overspray landing on things down to a minimum. Got more orange peel than I wanted to in here, and there is some solvent pop going on, unfortunately, but at 100 plus degrees there just wasn't much I can do about it, unfortunately. Just what's going to happen, especially when the sun comes in and hits things, and these things get probably 120 degrees where the sun's sitting them, and the rest of it's 85, 95, 100 degrees, then you're just going to have those variations. And again, it's better than painting outside, but it's not painting in a controlled booth by no means. And these are not show tractor restorations. We use these things. They weren't all that bad, but a little more picky than some people, I guess, I'm told. But all I did was sand down the clear. I didn't sand down the paint, and I reshot the clear, and I guess that gave us a chance to throw some metallics in it, as you can see in here. And it came out pretty cool, definitely not overpowering. It looks different on camera than what it is here. It's a gold flake metallic, so it's almost a little bit more copper color. But anyways, it came out pretty good. There's still a little bit of orange peel just because we didn't take the paint down too. But it's 100 times better, and that's where we're at with that. So just a few shots while I'm talking about this tent overall. Really like it. I think it's going to be a big benefit to our program. Definitely a big learning curve as well. The biggest thing is it gets hot, and it gets hot fast. I mean, it'll jump 20 degrees in probably 5 to 10 minutes if the sun's on it. And you really got to watch it. We were up to over 120 at some point, and that's just too hot to paint. 100 is too hot to paint. As you'll see in some of these shots, the overspray for the paint itself is manageable. Once you jump into the clear, there's a shot of clear coming up. Just like shooting clear coat anywhere, you got twice as much overspray anyways. And again, like I said, these are all small parts and different angles, and you're laying a lot of paint, and a lot of it's getting up in the air. And the overspray will be far less if you're shooting a car or a truck or panels. So just something to keep in mind there. Here's a clear coat. You can see the difference in the overspray just sitting there. The transfer rate on our stuff here is far lower than what you would be doing on solid panels. They do make a ventilation system for the exhaust filters, and it's an exhaust fan and suction tubes, and I think that would make a huge difference. And if you'd like to send us one to try, we'd be all about it. And also the fan that's pushing the ventilation air, the blower that comes with it, probably should be the same size as the inflatable blower, just to move some more CFM. This thing blows up pretty fast, a few minutes and it's up. It comes down pretty quick, and you can put it away fairly soon. You lose power, it'll come crashing down your paint. Just one thing to keep in mind. The bag they give you could be a little bigger. If it was a foot wider and a foot taller, you could shove this thing in the bag pretty handy. It takes a little bit of work to get it in the carrying bag right now. And it's a little bit heavy, but not too bad. It is manageable. But if that bag they provided you was a little bigger, it'd really make putting this thing away a little bit easier. Just some shots of it in the process of being done. So there's a fender redone with the clear on it. And the frame, we added the black and taped off the black originally. As I said, we brought the stuff in and out. So as soon as it started tacking up, setting up, we move it out and bring another batch in. Do some metallics in that black. And yeah, it worked out really well. Looking forward to using this thing some more and doing an update. Here's a before shot of the 648 we had. And here's some after shots. And I'm pretty happy with the way it came out and happy with the way the booth worked. Really appreciate you guys watching. Be sure to subscribe and like the video. Thanks a lot.